Hello again, Warden. It is good that you came to speak with me. I realize that my actions at Howe's estate may not have painted me in the best light. For that, I apologize and hope that we can start again. I will be blunt. I can see that your voice will be a strong one in days to come. It is to you that Eamon listens, and with good reason. My father must be stopped, but once that is done, Ferelden will need a ruler. I would welcome your support for my throne. That is exactly what I am proposing. When the time comes, you support my bid in the Landsmeet to remain on the throne. You will be seen as my father's enemy, yet you will be in support of his daughter. You will be seen as supporting the interests of Ferelden, as opposed to solely those of the Grey Wardens. In return, I add my voice to yours. Do you see? Together we can do what alone we cannot. He is my father, as well as a great general, who has served his nation well until now. If there is a way for him to live, I would prefer it. I am glad to hear it. In the end, it will be up to the Landsmeet to decide, I think. Does that affect your decision? Can we yet come to an arrangement? For years, I have ruled this kingdom as Caelin's queen. As much as they loved Caelin, all of the Banon knew this to be so. Caelin was a good man, but what is needed now is not another good man, but a good ruler. I sent Alina here not solely because I thought I needed help, but because I saw an opportunity for us both. What say you then? Your support for mine in the Landsmeet? That is good to hear. So, we have a deal, Warden. I trust you'll keep your end of the bargain. Now, I suppose, comes the task of dealing with my father. That will be no small feat, of course, but I am certain you already know this. I imagine you have much to do. Is there anything else you needed from me? No. And while I know your concern is hardly disinterested, still, thank you. You return. Ask me whatever you like. Well, he was once a farmer when he was a boy, if you can believe it. I never could myself. He's useless with plants, for one thing. I remember my mother once asking his help with a sick rose vine. My mother oversaw the rose gardens personally. He touched it. No more than that. And it shed half its leaves like a dog with mange. She never asked for him to help with her roses again. He bought her another one, though. He carried it back from Denerim with the branches overflowing his saddlebag. Despite the thorns tearing him bloody, he wouldn't let anyone else take it. He wanted to be the one to present it to her. My father has his faults, Warden, but he is far from common. Because he believes he is right, Warden. He thinks he is the only one who can see Ferelden out of its current crisis, even if it is one he helped engineer. My father is capable of remarkable blindness, but it stems from his love of Ferelden. That is the saddest part of all, I think. I hope not, but I fear it is so, yes. Trust would perhaps be putting it too strongly. My father knew what Howe was, and while I despised the man, I knew that father relied on his political mind. I expect my father thought himself above being influenced by the snake. Truly, I wonder how many of these acts stemmed from Howe and not my father at all. We may never know. I'm not sure. I had no inkling of my father's plans until Caelin was already dead. I would like to think that my father planned for the worst, but did not truly decide that Caelin was a lost cause until that moment in Ostagar. The alternative is difficult to imagine. Ask me whatever you like. Of course it does. Do you think me heartless? But how much worse would I be to calmly stay at the side of a man who murdered my husband? It seems a strange word to describe a marriage our parents arranged when he was newly born and I still in swaddling clothes, but yes, I loved him. He was reckless, impetuous, and charming. Had he not been king, he would have made a dashing rogue for a band of players. We were a good pairing. He would not have wanted the burden of ruling any more than I would have liked remaining the silent wife in my husband's shadow. Calen was so idealistic. The world was his storybook, and he was the hero. My father is different. He's an idealist too, but he knows what idealism costs. They often clashed, but never seriously, never for long. Calen would always come round to Father's way of thinking eventually. And then the Blight came. Calen dreamed of uniting all the nations of Thedas against the Darkspawn. It was a dream he wouldn't surrender. What my father saw, however, was the boy he had swaddled inviting Orlesian troops back into the land he had fought to free of them. And for once, my poor, foolish husband wouldn't back down. It was more than just my own loss. But I thank you all the same. Ask me whatever you like. Do you want me to try my luck at fortune-telling? There was an old woman who read palms in the village of Gwarren when I was a child. She told me that I would have 10 children and be bald as a winter heath when I grew up. I can't say I put much faith in foretelling. What will happen depends much on you, Warden. But you certainly knew that already. Then I wish you luck, Warden.
Warden, let me know if there's any assistance I can give you. We need...
I'm glad you made it safely away. I hear Howe's death has already brought no small amount of cheer to the city. It's located just off the Market District in the northern alley past the Nord Noble Tavern. I'll sketch out the code which will let you pass the lock wheel. Inside you can take your pick of whatever equipment remains. It is the stockpile. We went through our joining together, more years ago than I like to remember. He was exactly the same back then, tough as stone and just as grizzled. I think he understood sooner than the rest of us how ugly a choice it is to let the few be sacrificed to protect the many. Always left himself a soft spot for his recruits, though. Only where he ever let himself down. When I'm well enough, I'm going to continue my journey toward Ostagar. Hopefully I'll be able to trace the heart of the Blight and where the Archdemon itself abides. If we want to defeat this Archdemon, we need to know where it is and how soon it might strike. If there were more of us, I would agree. But as it is, I don't think we can deprive all the armies you've gathered of a commander. Good luck to you, then.